Once upon a time, in a quiet and peaceful village surrounded by lush green fields and flowing rivers, there lived a hard-working man named Ramu. He was a simple laborer who earned his livelihood by digging up soil and selling it in the market. Every morning, he would set out with his tools and his loyal donkey, Kalu, to dig in different parts of the village, collecting soil to load onto Kalu's back before heading to the market. Life was simple but challenging for Ramu, and he never dreamed of riches or luxury. His only goal was to earn enough to have 2 meals a day and a small shelter to sleep under. One day, as Ramu was digging near an old banyan tree, his spade hit something hard. Curious, he dug deeper and found a shiny stone buried under layers of soil. The stone was unlike anything he had ever seen before. It sparkled in the sunlight and had a brilliance that mesmerized him. However, Ramu, being a poor laborer with no knowledge of gems or jewelry, simply thought it was a pretty stone. He wiped it clean and, unsure of what to do with it, tied it around Kalu's neck using a piece of cloth. He thought the stone would look good on his donkey and perhaps bring him some luck. With that, he continued with his work, unaware that he had just discovered a priceless diamond. Days passed, and Ramu carried on with his usual routine. Every morning, he and Kalu would pass through the village on their way to the market, and people started noticing the shiny stone hanging from the donkey's neck. It caught the attention of many, but no one knew its true value. One day, as Ramu was passing by a small grocery shop, the shopkeeper, Babu, noticed the sparkling stone. Babu was a cunning man, always looking for a good bargain. He stopped Ramu and asked about the stone. Ramu, with his usual simplicity, replied that it was just something he had found while digging. Seeing that Ramu had no idea of the stone's worth, Babu immediately sensed an opportunity. Babu pretended to admire the stone and offered to buy it from Ramu for 50 rupees. To Ramu, 50 rupees was a significant amount, more than what he earned in several days. Without a second thought, he agreed to sell the stone, believing he had made a good deal. Babu happily took the stone and decided to use it as a decoration in his shop. He tied it to his weighing scale, thinking it would attract customers. Soon, people who came to buy goods started admiring the stone's beauty. Some even suggested that it might be valuable, but Babu laughed off the idea, confident that he had simply bought a nice-looking piece of rock. A few weeks later, a traveling jeweler named Mohan arrived in the village. He had been visiting different towns, looking for rare gems and valuable stones. As he entered Babu's shop to buy some food, his eyes fell on the stone hanging from the scale. Being an expert in gems, he immediately recognized it as a priceless diamond. His heart raced with excitement, but he controlled his emotions, not wanting to alert Babu. Acting casually, he asked Babu about the stone and whether he would be willing to sell it. Babu, unaware of its real worth, replied that he had bought it from a laborer for 50 rupees and was willing to sell it for 100 rupees. Mohan, wanting to get the best deal, decided to bargain. He offered 80 rupees instead, thinking Babu would agree. However, Babu refused to lower the price, saying he would not sell it for less than 100 rupees. Mohan, believing that he could come back the next day and negotiate a better price, left, planning to return later. He was confident that no one else in the village knew the value of the stone, so he had nothing to worry about. That evening, another jeweler named Rakesh happened to pass through the village. His cart had broken down, and he stopped by Babu's shop to rest. As he stood inside the shop, his eyes fell upon the diamond. Unlike Mohan, Rakesh was not one to hesitate. The moment he saw the stone, he knew what it was worth, and he did not want to take any chances. Without wasting a second, he offered Babu 100 rupees and bought the diamond on the spot. Babu, happy with his small profit, handed over the stone, never realizing that he had just sold something worth a fortune for a mere 100 rupees. The next morning, Mohan returned to Babu's shop, eager to purchase the diamond. However, when he looked at the weighing scale, the stone was gone. Panic set in as he asked Babu where it was. When Babu casually informed him that he had sold it the previous evening for 100 rupees, Mohan was furious. "You fool," he shouted. "That was not just a shiny stone. It was a priceless diamond. You could have sold it for lakhs, even crores, and you let it go for just 100 rupees. Babu was shocked to hear this, but he simply laughed and replied, "Sir, I didn't know it was a priceless diamond, but you did. Yet you argued over just 20 rupees, thinking you could get a better deal. So tell me, who is the real fool? Mohan had no answer. He had lost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity simply because he had hesitated and tried to bargain over a small amount. He walked away realizing that his greed had cost him dearly. This story teaches us three important lessons. First, one should be careful about being overly stingy. If Mohan had simply agreed to pay the 100 rupees, he would have owned a priceless diamond. Sometimes being too cautious and trying to save a little can lead to losing something far greater. Second, opportunities do not wait for anyone. Mohan thought he could come back later and get a better deal, but by then it was too late. Life often presents us with golden chances, but if we hesitate, they slip away. Third, procrastination is the thief of success. The best time to act is always now. As the saying goes, do tomorrow's work today and today's work now. And so, Ramu continued his simple life, unaware that he had once possessed a diamond of immeasurable value. Babu, though he had made a small profit, lost a fortune due to ignorance. And Mohan learned a painful lesson about greed and hesitation. Meanwhile, Rakesh, the jeweler who seized the opportunity, walked away with a treasure that would change his life forever.